After building the headboard, I figured I probably should have designed and built a footboard for this bed frame. Luckily, I have enough scrap wood. In fact, most of my garage over there is dedicated to failed past projects, so materials won't be a problem, and I'll be using those creatively to build this footboard. It was never part of the original design, so hopefully it doesn't look funny. I think it's going to look great, but you just never know with these kind of things. So let's get started. Last week we established that headboards are the doilies of the furniture world. Now, I got a little pushback on that I don't really want to get into because it's pretty silly, but I'm not sure where that leaves footboards. Probably somewhere below headboards. I had to. But anyway, the design of this footboard basically mimics the headboard that we built last week, just a mini version of it. So with that being said, I'll be constructing the main board out of 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood cut to 1x6 dimensions. A quick way to join 2 boards is to use the Craig jig. Set the jig to accommodate 3/4 inch material, also making sure that the step of the drill bit is at the 3/4 inch mark. I once heard the story of a guy who built an entire queen-size bed using the wrong drill depth. I like to drill 2 inches off of each end and then every 8 inches in between.
Reload!
Apply glue to one end of one board. Switch your drill to about 14, it really depends on the drill. And what this does is limit the amount of torque or twisting force that is applied to the screw. A lower number indicates less torque. The most important thing here is that we get a nice tight joint that's flush on both sides. Because I have this joint, I'm going to route out a micro bevel to clean it up a little bit. Next up, I'm going to rip this board down so that I can use it as the top piece of trim. Finally, I'm going to cut this last piece of plywood to be used as the back of our footboard. Chop the trim and side pieces down to size. And I'll be connecting the side 2x2s to the main board using pocket screws. Unlike the headboard where the main board is inset 3/8 of an inch from the 2x2s, the main board of the footboard is going to be flush with the 2x2s. I'm using my Craig right angle clamp to hold the 2x2 in place while I clamp it down to the workbench and attach it to the plywood. Next up, I'm going to liberally apply glue to my trim pieces and clamp them together forever. This board is actually from the pegboard build that I made a few months ago. So here I am sanding down the holes that I filled in, and no one will ever know what this used to be, except for us. And last but not least, I'll be gluing and screwing the top of the headboard into the trim. It's always helpful to clamp the piece in place while you're trying to get it set because the glue makes it slide around a little bit. Right now I'm attaching the backboard to the footboard, and this is the piece that's going to connect the footboard to the bed frame. I'll be using wood glue and countersunk screws to attach the 2 boards. And finally, because I'll be painting the footboard, I'm filling in these holes, and I'll let those dry, sand them down, and then paint. The last thing to do is lay out where I want the screws to be to attach the footboard to the bed frame. My major concern is that I'm not sure the screws will hold when my 3-year-old daughter hangs on this thing. So in the future, I wonder if there's better hardware to use, like some sort of threaded insert with bolts that I can remove if I have to move the bed. In any case, the footboard slides in there really nicely. The weight is actually on these 2 side pieces, and I'll be capping off these holes with these white caps, so you won't even be able to tell that the hardware is there once the mattress is put back on the bed frame.